Hello Taurus, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm ready here to do your reading. So I've pre-shuffled the cards and laid out a spread for you, and I just meditated on it a little bit to see what comes through here for me, and I feel like I want to start with the underlying energy of the reading. I always have an overall and an underlying energy of the reading. Because the underlying energy is, in this case, I feel like important to understand the overall energy. I feel like I want to say in the pre-shuffle, I had the Five of Michaels show itself twice. I had my damaged Ace of Raphael card come out, and I had the Four of Raphael also show itself, fall out, jump out, while I was pre-shuffling. And all these cards kind of talk of the feeling of have lost something, that something is over, something is lost, and it has to do with the feelings of positive emotions and fulfilling relationships, like something may have been lost. It could be, doesn't have to be partnerships, it could be like a family thing, dispute in a family or something. But the Five of Michaels showed itself twice, and it tells me that because the Five always talks about a feeling of loss or lack, that there is a feeling of having lost something, potentially lost something. And it has to do with something that makes us happy, something that feels fulfilling, something that is positive. So the underlying energy I have here on the table for you is actually the Four of Raphael, and it showed itself in the pre-shuffle also. This is a card of worrying or longing, like we're looking back on something. Today it comes very much through as memories. I have the Gatherer here as a clarifier for the Four of Raphael here. So the Gatherer, this is about, again, when we worry about something, we can be a bit, like we cling to what we have, wanting not to let it be or let it be over, we cling to all emotions, we cling to the idea of something, the thought of something, the worry that something is over, lost, we can't seem to find it, or it's not staying in our life. It may come in, but then it's going again. You're kind of losing what you worry about, you lose it, and therefore you can initiate this gather energy. So the gather energy can be, like we cling on to stuff. We cling on to the memories we have. We let the stories be our main focus, even if we see things are leaving. This could be, like the feeling of you have been like living a family life, and now your children are old enough to move out, or they go to college or something, they're leaving, right? And you're kind of, I see her almost like she's flipping through photo albums, right? Clinging on to the stories here of something, a memory of something. So this could be, like going through your phone, looking all the photos of something, or photo albums, or you clean up the attic, and then you are wondering what to hold on to, because there are memories here. There are things that were important, that you don't want to lose, right? That you don't want to let go of. The card here is always comes with different ways of looking at this card here. It says seek out other possibilities, look for the magic in life, be aware of your own emotions, right? That you can when you sit in an energy like this, it's like she can become so attached to looking at these, what are these, like shells. Here, she's very attached to the shells. And she may worry that she's losing them, right? But what about the sea and the sky? What about the little butterfly, right? That there's more to life than just these shells here. So you see, it could be something about worrying about how is my life going to be if someone is not there. If someone is not there, or they have already gone, like they have already left, they are not there, or if they are there, they are not giving you the attention, right, that you're looking for. So you hold on to something that was the four. Usually, to me, it's, and Raphael here, four of Raphael is a card of like looking back. You hold on to what we usually see in other tarot cards. We see a person sitting under a tree, looking at 3 cups that are standing there. And the divine is kind of offering a new cup. But you're not seeing it, right? You are not opening yourself up for new opportunities because you are still focused on the 3 cups that potentially could spill over and everything is lost, but they are still standing, like, so it is a kind of maintenance mode. That you are in a maintenance mode where you are focused on letting the cup stand so that there is still something in there. Potentially it's just an illusion that you hold on to the idea that there is something in the cups, but actually you're worrying that there's not, that it could be lost, and you are in maintenance mode. Like, how can I keep them up? Like, how can I maybe keep a relationship up, even though I know that something is threatening it? I gather what I have, like all my memories, everything I know about this situation, I hold on to it, because letting go of it would be a loss, right? Like the 5 of Michael, 5 of Swords is this idea that you have lost everything. And that it was a lie. 5 of Michael can be, 5 of Swords can be a lie, a betrayal, that what you have put your thoughts to is not real. It was an illusion. It was waste of time, you could say. So, and I have an energy here, and this is the driver. So like this has been a driver, like that has been in you, that has kind of been, you could say, it's kind of governing or ruling your decisions. That, like it could be a lurking that potentially what I have is maybe I'm wondering if it's on a collision course, right? That potentially what I'm in and what I have is potentially being lost. It's like a feeling, like that something is coming. And because of that feeling, and the potentially not wanting to avoid it, like if this is a way of feeling and thinking that is in you, like it governs something in you, it's underlying, meaning this can be in your subconscious mind. This can be something that you grew up with, always wondering if you were safe, always wondering if those around you actually would stick around and stay. If like that could be this worrying that they are not going to, or you're not sure. So to make them stay, you must do everything you can to make them stay. That's why I talk about this maintenance mode, that there's this like a worrying about relationships perhaps, and the good times, worrying that they could potentially be over, and I must do whatever I can to maintain it. And if that is like a subconscious thing that is going on in your mind, you would say the possibility of that your worst fear is going to happen is possible. The potential for them staying and being with you is also possible. But if this is on your mind, or is somehow controlling your inner thoughts and subconscious ways of thinking, that this is something that is embedded in it, that this is like this has always been on the back of your mind, it can control the way you behave, how you scan situations. If a person starts acting in a certain way, you could see it as, this is where it starts. Now, this is the start, and eventually they're leaving me. You begin to see a behavior, and when they start doing that, this gets activated. You start to do whatever you can to maintain it, but still you have that feeling. Now the seed has been planted, or it has been fertilized. So now your thoughts are concentrating on this. And because of that, you are now maybe initiating a different behavior. This behavior, now I have come to the overall energy, which is maybe in your face right now, which is maybe what you're thinking about. It's the 3 of Gabriel here. And this is interesting because the 3 of Wands card is also what was in the Aries reading. So this card could talk about, normally I see this card as waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for something to arrive, something to come. So in this case, and with this card, we could say, as I just mentioned, that you're scanning now. I want to say usually the ships are positive, like that you wait for like something great to come in. In this case, it feels a little bit like almost anticipating, because of this, anticipating that what is coming in with the ships is trouble. That again, I said you've planted a seed, or you have activated, fertilized the seed in the back of your mind. This is the seed, right? But it can get activated, and then it's almost like you sit here and you're waiting for it to come in. So you're waiting for, or like it's in your mind. This is now in your conscious awareness, right? Where this can be something that is seated in your subconscious mind, but it just needs a little fertilizer, then it starts growing, and this becomes what's in your mind. This is where you are now consciously almost scanning for the problems. You're scanning for the drama, you could say, scanning for any kind of behavior that can litify, or that can prove this. You're scanning for it, right? It's like you're waiting, you're almost anticipating it's coming. Like someone comes and breaks up with you, they tell you it's over, and that is the proof of your intuition here, or your worst fear that has been lurking in the back of your mind. That is why I say it's underlying, it has been working in you for a while here. So this is the worst possible scenario of law of attraction, you could say. That if something in you is focusing, something has been activated, an old fear or something, and it's just kind of it's just molding and doing something. Maybe you're not even aware that this is something you're carrying. Maybe you are very aware of it, but now it's almost like you're anticipating it. Like you're anticipating it to come in. This is clarified with the Five of Earth. The Five of Earth is a card of losing everything. This is the loss. Here you are worrying about it, right? This is the loss. Five of Pentacles. In the Rider-Waite Tarot, we see Five of Pentacles is we see two people walking out in the cold. One disabled, and the clothes is their clothes is torn, and they don't have any food. They are out in the cold. They are, like separated from shelter, and they are separated from the good Christmas dinner, from like human grace. They are out in the cold. They're homeless. They are without support or anything. But you see, it's like you're almost anticipating that this is coming in, right? That eventually it's coming, right? That's what I feel like. So it's like, as I said, this is one of you can be a negative manifester if you're not aware of what you are doing. And especially, I want to say for everyone out there, next year, 2024, this is an 8 year. And an 8 looks like this, right? It means as above, so below. So what you're thinking becomes amplified in an 8 year. Like it's so important that our mind and the way we think, that we have to really become aware of this, right? And again, I want to say, actually, this is the reading. Actually, this is what I have. The final card on the table is the Round Breacher. In this case, it is a breaching, you could say, towards more negative experience. But what if you could take it the other way? Like, what if you could, that these three of Gabriel here is something that, because in spite of your, you could say, if you have an awareness that this is how you grew up, for instance, right? That we had to hold on to everything we've had. This is the way I grew up, right? That in spite of this, and I'm aware of this now, I could maybe, because I don't want to end up without anything, I put in new seeds here. I put myself on another ship. I sail somewhere else. I try to do something, right? Because I don't want to just sit and anticipate the downfall, right? I want to breach that. I want to breach out, like get myself out of that, you could say, 3D matrix, right? There is opportunities if we want to see them. In the Aries reading, I talked about that Aries wasn't even aware. It's like, well, I said in the Aries reading that it's like most of us, I believe that if we actually dig deep enough, we will find an awareness that wants comfort. It expects comfort. And when we don't feel it, we feel that the world is against us, that the world is terrible. But who is it that has promised us that the world would be good? It's something that's in us. Like, we have this awareness that and I think it's because of the one, I think it's where we come from. Like, a little bit part of us is still holding on to like the God flow or the oneness or what you would want to call it, right? That a part of us is still holding on to that. So when we get here and we feel the discomfort or imbalance in our lives, it's almost like, how dare you, right? How dare you come in here and ruin my comfort? Like, comfort is something that we deserve or something. And I'm not saying that we don't deserve it. I'm just saying that our reaction, I've said a long time ago that where oneness exists, it's like all the particles of oneness has kind of all the particles we see on Earth, all the atoms that are here, that are separated from each other, we can see them. The different plants, the different humans, we can see them. They are separated from each other. We take all that, all of it, we mesh it all together in one big atom, and then we get oneness. In there is a perfect aligned balance between what we would say good and bad, up and down, light and dark, whatever. In that, you always have like the consciousness in here is always balanced. But there are no bodies here. There's no body. It's a consciousness that is always in perfect balance. The pressure is not too much. There are not even these words. Like, the words don't even exist there. And because of that, I probably think that it's a beingness that is not challenged. It's a beingness that is not challenged. It just is like that. So if we come from there and we get here, we feel like it's almost like an attack on us. That our beingness, and we just come from this oneness where everything is in alignment. We have no idea about challenge, pressure, yin and yang. We don't have any awareness. But when we get here, we get an awareness very quickly. So we will feel comfort and we will feel discomfort. And the discomfort, well, it's like we are not prepared for it. It's almost like, how dare you? Like, I am me, so just stay away from me. But here we are here to learn something about this, right? That where we come from is not the only state. It's one kind of state. Here we have another one. So we learn this. That's why I have the tomatoes on my front picture, right? It's an evolutionary state. That as souls, we go through evolutionary states. It's a maturing. We are in a maturing process. So the experience here on Earth is one kind of experience where we are now challenging the comfortness of the oneness, you could say. Maybe there are other realms where we challenge something else, but in this realm, we are challenging this. Everyone feels uncomfortable. But it's also very important to remember when we actually do feel comfortable. We all feel uncomfortable, and our brain is somehow wired to remember the bad, the stuff that can threaten us, the amygdala. Our ego is a perfect reminder of everything that is bad. The ego comes up as a protector towards this existence where we are challenged with everything and we are not really liking it, we're not prepared, really. So when we get here, it's like there's this pressure on us and we are not prepared. So we build the ego as a protective mechanism, and then we forget. Then we forget who we are. We forget where we come from. We forget why we are here. We forget everything. And now we are just living in some kind of survival mode, like an animal. We call ourselves civilized. We have learned to live with each other, to co-create with each other, but it means that in some cases we create relationships that are, you could say, mutually beneficial, like a symbiosis, but you can also create parasitic relationships and connections where one is benefiting more than the other. So we live here in an ego existence, surviving. Most of us have a very big awareness about lack mentality, and hunter-gatherers is the way we survived for many years. We have a big awareness about survival. The evolutionary state of the human brain, we are still, in my own opinion, we are still like toddlers. Like I said in the Aries reading also, we are only using maybe 5, 8, 10% of our brain, conscious brain. What about the rest, right? What's in there? And if we could somehow clean that up, whatever is in there, if we could clean it up and get like really like totally ordered understanding of the brain, we could probably do much better. But this is an evolutionary state. We are just here, like a toddler. You can't expect a toddler to be a 40-year-old with rational thinking and everything, right? We are like toddlers. We are reactive. We don't know how to manage our feelings. We feel that we are overwhelmed. We are very challenged. We feel that this is a tough place. We are in a very bad place. We are overworked. We drug ourselves. We find ways of coping, smoking, drinking, other kinds of ways of derailing our mind from the fact that we are in a terrible place. But I'm just saying that there's more here than just a terrible place. The card here also says, look for the magic in life, that there is, as I said in the Aries reading, it was like Aries had overcome something. They had been very tumultuous, mind-oriented process, like a storm. And they got out of it. And it was like, again, they were looking for the reward. They were looking for ships to come in. I just mastered something like extreme. So where is my reward? That was Aries. That was the message of Aries. And I said, you are already in it. The reward is the quiet. But as a human, it's like, but that's not a reward. Yes, it is. The only point is that the quiet we take for granted. Like we take it for granted that everything that is quiet and calm and gentle and kind, sleep, meditation, a nice bath, we take it for granted. That is not a reward. That is just life. That is just, but it is. It's the balance of yin and yang. We just don't see it like that. No, we want spotlight, we want fame, we want a prize, we want our name in the newspaper, right? We want our success in the history books. We want to be a legend. We want it to be big announcement, right? I just mastered something big here. I got my exam, right? So now I'm expecting my reward. The reward is that you did it, and now you are on the other side. Or the reward is you got out. I made different examples, but the point is that we expect something massive, but actually you are already getting it. It's already there. And I'm saying that one of the ways that this place can feel better, that Earth experience can feel better, is when we realize that most of the things we take for granted are magic. You take your room for granted. You take your bed for granted. You take your car for granted. Your clothes, your sleep, your home perhaps. You take it for granted until the day where there has been an invasion, where someone broke in. Now it's turmoil. Now it's chaos there. But every other day of your life, you take it for granted. It allows you to rest. It allows you to have a base. That is the balance. But we are just not seeing it. We expect this. And we don't like this other thing necessarily that pressures us. So we have our focus on what pressures us, but we're not even looking at this other stuff. We take it totally for granted, and we always want more. Being satisfied with what you have and grateful for what you have is it's like I think that the magic in life is not necessarily this idea about, as I said before, she has her focus on this, but what about the butterfly? What about the beautiful beach here? What about the water or the sunset? What about that? Can't you just instead of worrying about the things that potentially is leaving or moving out or not there yet anymore, or like you go through all the photo albums here of what was once, and you're trying to maintain it, like keep it alive or whatever. You can do that, of course. But if it puts you in a worrying state, if it puts you in a state of lack or worry or longing, or it's like you can't even appreciate what's there for you. That, there could be a time where you're worrying or longing, but then look around and look what's actually there. Maybe this talks about certain people, but what about the others? What about those that are your co-workers? Or what about other friends, perhaps? What about them? Those that are still there, right? Those that haven't left. What about them? What about, as I said, the sun rise, the sun down? What about a quiet cup of coffee? What about the bike ride you can take? Or the drum lessons that you love? What about them? But you take some of this, we take it for granted. We don't even give it value. Some of the small stuff is actually what is the reason why we can exist. Some of the boring stuff is the balance we need to deal with the dramatic stuff. So I would say for this one, of course, you can look for the trouble here. That you're fearing that something is getting lost here. But what if you could take your awareness away from these, and you can actually start gathering some of this other stuff instead? Would that build you up? Or would it tear you down? If you focus on this, or potentially what you could lose, you get more cramped down. You want to shelter it, keep it safe, protect it somehow. So you become more in a protective maintenance kind of mode. But what if you could say, okay, this, no matter what, they are moving out, my old children, right? They will eventually move out, or they will eventually free themselves from me or our way of life. Potentially they will do that. It's the life. It's, again, with the tomatoes there on my front picture, it's an inevitable way of maturing, right? That things have a certain cycle, and then it is leaving. Sometimes people also want to hold on to people in their life. Some people are here for an eternity, and some come and stay for a while and then they leave. It's like that. It has a certain cycle. For some it's just a day, for some it's years, for some it's lifetimes. But we tend to hold on to it if we like it, right? If we like it, we want it to stay. We want it to stay if we like it. But if it's leaving, if something is leaving here on its way out, and you're worrying about this, that it's on its way out, that you're almost looking for the ships, right? It's almost like you feel you can see that the ships have already come in, and someone is now on that ship and leaving. Again, it depends on, I said that for Aries, it's like you're looking for that reward, but the reward is right in front of you. It's right there. I asked Aries to look back maybe 3 or 4 years before the storm hit them, before this mind problem came. How was your life like? How did you think? What were you focused about? What were your your priorities? And then you've gone through all this storm, and now you're getting out on the other side, and there's a sense of stillness. What is the difference now between this and then this one? What is the difference? Because in this stillness, it may feel strange or unfamiliar, but you have come from one thing to another. The point is not to get a reward. The point is that you got there. You've learned something. The journey is what you learn from, right? If this is something that is in you, you would probably have cycles of this. Whatever's going on right now, this is not the first time. This is like a reoccurring thing that comes up from time to time, that people are in your life, you care about them, you are wanting to maintain it, but you are also at the same time fearing that it's leaving. I believe that the yin and yang, if you have great love in your life, you will also experience great loss when it's not there anymore. That is the extremes of the life we have here, yin and yang. The more extreme you have, as we say, the most extreme high of something can give you the most extreme low of something. Like the feeling of being high on a drug and then the low state where you are craving the drug, right? So if we live our life on these outer scales, it will not always be good. It cannot be. If we're always looking for new, always have new, you will also have old, or like if you always want new or better, you will also get worse. Like it will, let's say you are into fashion, right? And every time you buy a new dress or a new trousers or something, it gives you a momentary feeling of greatness, like happiness, because now you can look great and everything. But it will be bad for your wallet, perhaps. Does it make sense? Like, if we crave something and we keep craving it, it will have and there will be another effect, and eventually that dress is out of fashion. Eventually it doesn't have that appeal anymore. Eventually it's nothing, right? So from having the high of it, like the most fashionable, sought for, attractive, it now becomes dull and old-fashioned. Do you see it? It's like so my own attempt in this world is actually not these. My attempt is more in the middle. It means that I do not necessarily seek the highest high, because if I do that, I will have the lowest low. I do not seek the lowest low. Do you understand? It's this. I have come to an understanding in my life And you can do whatever you want. But my understanding is that if I crave something that is on the outer balance of something, so a high of something, it will come with, like if you are in love with someone and they are your highest high, like this is the ultimate, this is my one, and they are not reciprocating, you will have the rejection that is now the lowest low. If they reciprocate, you will have the feeling of flying on pink skies. You are up in the air until you are not, right? Until everything else, something else reveals itself about this person, right? Or you're with them, but you're worrying that they are not staying because they look like you have really catched the prize, right? So you may be worrying that they are leaving you, right? Because they are so high here. And if you lose them, you will now crash to the ground. Do you get my, like the opposites here, the extremes are possibly desirable in this life, but usually it comes with a time of glory and fame, and then something else happens. Maybe you have great financial life, you have like really achievements in your work, but your love life sucks. You see, like that. I'm attempting, perhaps, but that's my personal choice. I'm aware of this, right? I have an awareness of this. So it depends on what are you prepared for this other thing that comes in? And as I said, no, we are not prepared. We don't like discomfort. We don't like discomfort. We want it gone. We want it out. Like we don't like it. We want the good stuff and only the good stuff, right? And when we experience this other stuff, it's like we didn't sign up for that. We signed up only for this other. I've always this idea of the fairy tales, that because you find the princess, or the prince finds the princess, that then now they live happily ever after. Yeah, but we know that's not kind of what it is. Our children hear this, but that's not how life is, right? As an adult, you know this is not life. Because I found this person here, doesn't mean that we are happy ever after now, does it? There's more to this life. As I said, people have a way of showing themselves. They appear in a certain way. This is what I show the world, and then there's a shadow. So you get actually, when you see a person, you get attracted to them, you're attracted to something, but you only get maybe half of the story. Something else also comes along. So when something is great, something else usually comes along. That's the balance that is here. So when you crave something that is always new, the most luxurious stuff and so on, just know that you may need to align with that frequency. You may need to go through the dark night of the soul. That's then. Does it make sense? And what I see here is that if you sit in this, and you're worrying about something, that it's lost, you go into maintenance mode. You go into this mode of needing to cut my losses here. I need to maintain what I have. Or if these are memories here, you're trying to keep some memories going that are maybe actually a bit obsolete here. Where you could stop doing that and you could look at other possibilities, as the card actually says here. It says, seek out other possibilities, look for the magic in life, be aware of your own emotions here, because your emotion can draw you right back. She sits and focuses only on this. She doesn't see the butterfly. She's not even aware about the beach. She's not aware about any other kind of guidance that could come in. She's overlooking her intuition. She's not seeing the sunshine, the sunrise or sundown. She's not aware of it. She's focusing only on something here. But there's so much more in your life. There's so much more in your life. You're just focusing on the things that seems to disappear, right? We don't like things to disappear if we like them. We don't like losses. We don't like lack, because losses and lack indicate that you liked it. We don't mind losing the things that we don't like. People we don't like, we don't mind. They can just go by, right? But the people we do like, we want them to stay. Or experiences, feelings, we want them to stay. We don't want to lose them. We only want to lose the things that we don't care about. That's all right. It can just fly off, right? We don't think about that. So we are so self-oriented, like the way we scan and everything, it's always about our own needs and wants and desires. That's how we are constructed, I believe. That's people that tell me that, or show up as being very selfless. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. There is no such animal on the planet that is not survival oriented. It doesn't exist. And we are maybe not sitting in like real survival, but we sit in if we are not concentrating about survival, we are concentrating about comfort. It's always about comfort. Getting the best of something. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm saying it's an evolutionary state that we're in. We expect others to be there for us and to give us what we need, and but that's not how we work. None of us. At the best, we will have a mutual agreement to help each other. That's also an evolutionary state. That where are you on this evolutionary state of maturing and growing? As I said, I compare us like we are toddlers. We still take the plastic shovel from the playground and knock each other in the head with it. If there are things we don't like about the other, we argue, we scream, we are discussing, we get angry. Some even get violent, right? That's how it is. And then some are not. They are debating. They are confronting each other's beliefs, but not necessarily in an aggressive way. That's another state of evolution, where you put yourself in where you think you are. But how to get out of a very self-concerned state of living and being. It's an evolutionary state I believe that we are all in. So, okay, let's have an awareness about that. And also maybe compassion. Okay, I'm like that, you are like that. That is my theory. That's my personal theory. Those people that say, I'm the most selfless person, I always help others, I'm always there for others. Yeah, you help out. Why do you help out? Yeah, because they are in need. Okay, in what if the reason for you, there is a reason why you do it. I want to help others. Okay, you want to help others. So, and that's the only reason why you do it. And you never expect anything back. You don't expect them to help you. You don't expect them to pay you. You don't expect just a simple thing as respect. Can you literally say that you expect nothing from them? Nothing. Not even goodwill, not even a slight thought of. And we can go even further down this idea that if I help someone, I feel good. Okay, you feel good. So helping others serves you, serves your ego, serves your life circumstances. And if you are helping others and it makes you feel good, they are not necessarily a threat. Because if you help them, you are a kind person. So why should they attack you? I'm just saying that there are layers underneath this that are worth exploring for everyone. And we are in this all together in evolutionary state. In this state, we have to be have compassion for each other, that we are only there. That's the state we are in. Nobody is at fault. It's like a 3-year-old, right? You can't blame the 3-year-old for not being 8 or 40. It's just where it is. Earth is undergoing a change at the moment. In spiritual circles, we talk about the split between the third dimension, the toddler, the tantrum of the toddler, and all these frustrations that a toddler must go through when it doesn't get its way. That's what I feel like is one of the reasons why we have the lack mentality in the first place. It's the chaos that is created in the child when it realizes it can't get its way. That things are not oneness. It's the chaos that comes in. And the ego is created in that chaos, right? Because it's we can't deal with it. We can't really deal with it. A child cannot deal with it, a child brain. We know that the brain evolves. New things happen, new things grow when we get older. And some people, of course, they temper themselves very well. And some are very mature and evolved and whatever. And then there we have a big group that don't really evolve. We stay in the ego because it's what we have learned is the best way. I'm just saying with these cards, it seems a little bit like there's a choice here. You can choose to focus on this. You will sit in lack mentality. You will focus on what you are losing or potentially could lose. You're not allowing yourself to open your mind, think about other things, have positivity about that. You sit in lack here and negative feelings. Here you can, again, there's a potential to gather in both scenarios, right? If you do what the card says here, if you say, seek other possibilities, look for the magic in life, and be aware of your emotions, you can gather in a totally new way. You can gather from the positivity that is here, from the quiet, from the beauty that is around you. You can let that mesmerize you, inspire you, motivate you, or energize you. Or you can sit here and you can lower your energy, protect everything, maintain it, keep it small, stick to something. And again, in that position, it's like there is this feeling of like there's me against the world, right? Me here, and I'm protecting everything against the world. Where if you decide to say, okay, I can cling on to this, or I can let it live its life. If it's staying here with me, okay. If it's walking away, okay, the cycle is done then. But then I can look for other things in my life that's actually comfortable or nice, or that energizes me, that is beautiful. And again, what are you now attracting here then? The Three of Wands, what kind of thought pattern do you have if you are letting yourself being energized by the butterfly, by the beach, by other things that are actually available? You look for other ships, you would say, other possibilities here. That there's not just one ship that can take you to a nice destiny, one person or one place or one kind of hobby or one relationship. No, there are others available here. And you can decide to take one of them. Prosperity arises from wise planning, time to take the next step, optimistic plans that turn out as expected, it says here, right? So what are you doing? You can be around breacher here. You can let yourself be positive, or you can let yourself sit in misery. So where are you going? What kind of realm are you getting yourself into? The Five of Earth here would talk about, as I said, like a lack mentality. This is the feeling of like that potentially, here again I said, waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for trouble to come if that's what you choose. And it will prove that, yeah, you are not liked, you are rejected, people did leave you, the world is against me, and so on. Or you can say, I'm not sitting and waiting around for trouble to necessarily come in here and make me feel bad. I choose another ship, right? I choose another ship because potentially I could lose something, but I could also walk away here. This can also be like a default setting that you have, that every time you feel the slightest sense of potential loss, you're out, right? That you leave the scene to avoid the feeling of loss here, right? That you potentially, you're saying, no, I'm not staying in a realm where I'm not sure, or with a person, a circumstance, I'm not staying there. if I'm unsure whether they will stay there with me, right? If it's reciprocated, or if it's I'm not staying with something that I feel could potentially be lost. So when you feel the worry, you are already on the run, right? That could also be what this is. I cut my losses, I get on a ship and I'm gone, right? Because I'm avoiding this. I'm avoiding the total collapse, which comes after the 4 here, right? After the 4, you get the 5. So to avoid it, I'm out. That could also be an interpretation of these cards. I'd rather get out in time, right? I'd rather get out in time. So I breach out of something that is maybe more lack-based, and I look for opportunities, because that is also what the 3 of Gabriel could talk about. Optimistic plans that turn out as expected. You want to get out of something that can draw you, like it can draw you back into a more retracted or protective state. So this is what I have here. I just feel like I should mention this thing about the Aries reading, because I feel like we just take it for granted. The things that are quiet and calm can come across as boring, well known. Yeah, they are, for a reason, because usually we actually need that more, some more than others, right? But the idea of home, the idea of that there is a place I return to every day, or there is some kind of safe haven, or a place that is a rejuvenation place, right? But we take it for granted, right? Because it doesn't offer much new. It can become boring. It's the same stuff that is there. Well, you can get yourself a new lamp, or a new paint, a new color on the wall, but it's still the same house, or the same set of rules, or the same set of values. It can seem over time maybe boring, or, as I said, we take it for granted. But it's actually the place that is the opposite. Like when you go to school, you have teaching and drama and activities and stuff going on. You have homework and stuff. And then you get home. And the home is it's like the opposite, right? It's supposed to be the opposite of what you have been dealing with. Now you get to a place where it's not the same, or it shouldn't be anyway. That's what I feel like, that maybe we should open our eyes to actually see. And I'm just as bad as this as anyone else, right? That we're maybe not really appreciating it. I walk by these houses where I live, right? And they have like beautiful new built houses and a nice garden and everything, but they're never out there. Like, it's a rare, well, some of course are, but many of these new built houses, sometimes it feels like there's nobody there. Like, are they even there? Like, do they even enjoy it? Like, do they appreciate it and enjoy it, and all the effort and money that has put into it? Are they constantly working? Are they even there? And I'm not to say that it's a bad thing. Maybe they like active life. That's quite all right, of course. It's just, it's something about figuring out what is the opposite. So when you're very active with friends and at a party, you know that you can't stay there forever, even though it's fun. Eventually, you need to sleep, right? Eventually, you need to have that rest. And then it's nice to have a home, a bed to sleep in. And that is, but we take it for granted. I'm just saying that some of the magic of life is maybe actually realizing that this is existing, that these opposites are existing, and that there are so many of them. You can choose all kinds of stuff. It's an abundant place to seek out these particular items of yin and yang here for you. Depending on your personality type, what you like, right? I am such a spokesperson for this idea of creating the life that is really in alignment with you. I'm not saying what's right for you. I don't know what's right for you. I just say that, go for the best of what you want. Just know that if you're looking for the utmost high of something, it may require, let's say this is the top CEO position in a firm that you want. Then the opposite of this is hard work, perhaps, right? That is the world we're in. So if you want this, you may need to really work hard. We know that, for instance, some music players, right, when they start out as young people, maybe in teenage bands or something, they play in the garage, out in the garage somewhere. And to become the Beatles, right? To become Beatles, you haven't always been there. At some point, you were playing in your father's garage, right? Just fooling around, playing music and stuff there. But nobody knew you. You had no spotlight. There was no fame. You didn't earn a lot of money. It took Beatles quite a lot of work here before they may have been discovered and actually got famous, right? So you have a wish or a desire, a dream of something, but having that is great, but it doesn't necessarily take you there. That you just know that there's usually something that if you want something over here, it probably requires something over here as well. That is the dimension we live in. With a great high can come a great low. If you have found, or you feel like you have had, the most gracious opportunity of finding a loving woman or man in your life, and you've shared years and years with them, and you eventually lose them, it has been an enormous gift. But the gift of it also comes with a low, right? That could be the feeling, right? That I don't know what's right for you. And there's this, for me, it's something like, how do I deal with these outer polarities? Am I good at dealing with them? I don't know if I am. I'm not sure. Like my entire nervous system and sensitivities or whatever, I'm not sure I'm actually very good at dealing with these extremes. For me, it's maybe better to be somewhere in between, right? I may not get the highest high, but I also don't get necessarily the lowest low. It will be somewhere in between. So I feel like your message can take you in different directions, depending on how you think, right? And because we can get obsessed about the things that we can't control. We want the good to stay, so we want to steer it or control it. Again, that's why I feel like, again, going into maintenance mode here. How can I maintain this? What is needed for me to maintain something so that it's not leaving, so that it stays? And in that maintenance mode, you could be prepared to change yourself, go out of the way to make sure someone else is comfortable so they stay. Maybe you work more, like you take an extra job, you do all kinds of stuff to maintain something that is maybe on its way out. But if it's on its way out, you should ask yourself why you are wanting to maintain something that is on its way out. Why do you want to keep it? It's because we feel like it's worth it somehow. And we don't like rejection, right? So we would like it to stay somehow. But usually if we let it go, something else offers itself for us. We may not, as I said with the Four of Wands or Four of Cups card in the Rider-Waite Tarot, that the divine actually offers a different cup. But if you are so obsessed about something, you're not even seeing it, you don't hear it, you're not aware of it. But it is there. It's there if we look at it. So be mindful if you want to maintain something and what you're willing to do to keep something that potentially is on its way out or is choosing something else. Right? That I feel like that if you have the feeling that something is on its way out, I feel like the split between the fifth and the third dimension here, if the third dimension is kind of on its way out, just make sure why you want to maintain it. What's in there that you really feel like you have to, because there's a lot of lack and low vibrational energy in there. So just be mindful of why you're trying to keep it. And if it's just like an unsolved need in some way. Again, the fifth dimension doesn't come in without purging. I'm pretty sure of that. Like the fifth dimension experience for you, like you can lean towards the fifth dimension, but if you do, you will probably need to purge something. Like you will probably need to purge something because the third dimension holds a lot of lack and low vibrational energy, sadness and grief and loss and something like that. And to lean towards the fifth dimension, it doesn't include many of these low vibrational energies. So the shift is here. Whether you can lean more towards one or the other is up to you. If you want to go for the fifth dimension, great. You just need to know that there's probably something that comes up for people to deal with. The fifth dimensional energy includes more love energy. And to align with a love energy means that you can't grieve necessarily. Right? Grieving holds a much lower frequency. Sadness, lack, loss, potential lack, potential loss, ancestral abuse or violence or certain kind of treatment. Some of this stuff, it's going to come up. So if you stay in the third dimension, you probably sit in this lack mentality here, feel something can be lost, and now you want to maybe maintain what is there. Then you sit here. You can do whatever you want, but it's probably, then I feel like the first story will align with you, anticipating, waiting for the ships to come, waiting for the ships that tear everything down here and leaves you homeless, right? That the ships have now arrived, and the person you have hoped would stay here, they are on the ships, they are leaving, and they will leave you homeless here. You know, like, that could be one interpretation of these cards. But you can turn it around and see things in a different way. That, yeah, if someone gets on the ship and they leave, that's their choice, right? And if something is leaving out of your life, it's opening space for something else to be there. And as I just said with the fifth dimension, if you are aligning or wanting more of the fifth dimension in, maybe you need to let some of the lower stuff go for something else to be able to arrive in. That's how we breach into different realms here. And you can go one way or the other. Nobody is stopping you whether you want to go one way or the other. It's all a choice. Which realm do you want to be in? I said in some of the later readings, I said this thing about you can have two people who have been raised in the same family. They grew up under the same kind of set of rules, the same kind of programming somehow. You can have two of them grow up in that dimension, in that understanding, but they have two different ways of like feeling the world. One has maybe a more positive mindset towards something, and one has a more negative. It means that you have different realms here. Like you participate in different realms, even though it seems like it's the same world. You're standing just beside each other. One is negative, one is positive. We all know that, right? That one has this naysayer tendency and one has a yes-sayer tendency. They live in the same world, but it's like they watch the world from in two entirely different ways. Even though they come from the same family, the same upbringing, the same roots, you could say. That's just how it is. Some I feel like I attracted to the opposite. So if you have a very yes-sayer tendency, you could actually have friends that are more of naysayers. Because it's the balance that we need somehow. It's part of the oneness that there is this balance. I hope this made sense somehow. I know I tapped a lot into the Aries reading also, but it's like there's this... I feel like some of the readings that I'm doing this time around is about maturing. It's about... I feel like we are called to mature in some way. That this feeling that I mentioned, that we are all very self-oriented, self-serving, very like a child, like a toddler that doesn't get its way. Like that even as adults, even as old people, you can be like a toddler inside, right? That when you don't get it your way, when you don't get the potatoes that you want and that you have been eating all your life, you're kind of angry, right? That, like, every time we feel discomfort, we're reacting somehow. And it's like, I feel like I get the feeling that we are called to mature some of this. When we mature this, we will be able to understand each other better. There will be a different compassion with each other. But as long as we stay in our very self-protective, self-serving kind of energy, and we never do something that is selfless, really selfless, like really, without no other secondary potential beneficial results. When we can do that, like a really selfless thing to do, then I believe we have matured. Like people would say a selfless thing to do would be to give money to a homeless person. Because I have money, so I can give to a homeless person and they don't have anything. So now I'm a good person when I do that. I see that they are in trouble. I see that they are in need, so I give them money. Yes. And I'm laughing because underneath that, you tell yourself you are a good person because you're helping someone else, and you are helping them. Of course you are. You give them money. But what more is there to this story? I can just give you a few of them, right? If I can give money to someone else who seemingly are in need, if I can do that, I'm not in need. So I'm better off than they are. Or I'm luckier, or whatever you want to call it. I'm luckier than them. There's a me and there's a them, right? And they are definitely in need. I'm not, because I'm the one who can give them something. So I'm not needy. I'm not in trouble. So going to a homeless person, helping someone who is seemingly worse off than me, makes me feel better about myself. And I can tell my friends about it. I can put it on Instagram. I just donated because they are so much in trouble. Yeah, they are. But do you get my point? It's like there is so many layers under there that we are we don't see it. We don't want to see them, right? We stick to the idea that I'm a good person because I've now donated $100 to this guy. We don't want to look at the other stuff, right? Because then what I just did actually was not selfless. It was self-serving. What I just did was self-serving. It was not selfless, but I want to stick to the point that it was selfless. But it wasn't. Unless you are very aware of this and you actually do give this person $100 and you are knowing that potentially I'm doing this for self-serving reasons, but I'm trying not to. Like that is perhaps the best version that we can get to at the moment, right? Okay, this is what I have. Yeah, and you know me, I don't sugarcoat. I say what I get. I deal with it on a very daily basis on my own behalf, myself. I don't know. I think that I am on my own path of breaking through some of these patterns on my own behalf. So that is my ascension path. I don't know what yours is. But if you listen to me and you haven't clicked off yet, you probably, there's something that we're sharing somehow. Otherwise, you probably won't listen. Okay, this is what I have, Taurus. I wish you the very best out there. Take care of yourself. I send you my best. As always, love and light. Bye-bye.